Kia ora, everyone. Carl Burrows tēnei, mihi atu ki au koutou. My name is Carl Burrows, and you're on Haka in the Matrix, which is our podcast. Why Haka in the Matrix? It's well, Haka is something that we love. It's what we do, and it's really representative of Maori culture in this context. And the Matrix, well, you've seen the movie, and Neo's navigating his way through life and through the various worlds that he occupies, and in doing so, he discovers his life purpose. And I think, as Maori, we're privileged. We are really lucky to have these taonga, these treasures that have been given to us from our ancestors to help us do the same as we go out into different worlds, and it helps us navigate finding out who we are, our own life purpose, not as only as individuals, but also as communities as well. So no mahara mai, today we have Otene Hopa. Before I speak to Otene, you can see him right there, of course. I'm just going to do a quick karakia and a mihi mihi. So tēnā koutou, tēnā no o ki tātou, e wakarongo mai ki au, kia mātou, kia māua i tēnei wā. Nau mai hara mai I rungi te kaupapa o te wā me ki ngā taonga tuku iho o tātou nei tukuna. Ngā mate o te wā, kei te mihi atu ki a rātou, haere, haere, haere atu rā. Rātou ki a rātou, tātou ki a tātou, a tēnā koutou. Tātai, wakapapa, ko rangi ko papa, ka puta ko rongo, ko tā ane mahuta, ko tangaro, ko te matoenga, ko humi e tiki tiki, ko tā whiri mate. Tokona tarangi ki runga, ko papa ki raro, ka puta, ko te ira tangata ki te oiao, ki te ao māramati, hei, mauri ora. Ka huri ki a koe, e te tōkana, nau mahara mai, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, te puata o tina, tēnā tātou. Tēnā tātou I te ahuatango o enei wā. Tēnā te mate uruta kua pāngia ki runga ki te ao. He wā rere ke tēnei. E noho nei tātou. He wā kua tai te wā kia āta noho, kia noho puku. He wānanga te mahi. He whakahoki ngā whakaro ki a rātou mano reira, e mihi ana ki a tātou. Me te mihi atu ki a koe te puata nau I pohiri mai ki au I roto I tā mo tā tātou wānanga I te pōnei. I te pōnei, I konei, I te ata mōu. So just to say thank you, Carl, for the invitation and acknowledge the mihi that you gave. And just reflecting on this last 6 weeks, it's been a bit of a different time that we've lived in through this the coronavirus spreading right across the world, and even all the way here in Aotearoa. But it's been a time where it's caused for myself actually just to kind of pause and think about how we're living in today's world. It's been a time of reflection. And all that kind of stuff. So it's a different time different time that we're living in, but one that I've actually really enjoyed. And the fact that you've had to pause life for a minute, and just take a deep breath in, take in what's in around us, what's important. And so I just want to acknowledge that. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora, Otene. And it makes me think of, when we used to have our old wānanga back in the day in the wā of the makariri. And it was always winter time when we had our wānanga for the same reason, and it's been feeling like that, a time to sit, to relax, to contemplate. And this is why we have this opportunity to do podcasts. So it's good. So I just wanted to ask you, I know I think you were born in Australia or raised in Australia. So how does an Australian become so proficient in te reo and know so much about kapa haka? And can you just shed a little bit of light on your upbringing for our listeners?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, cool that. So you're right. My parents were living in Sydney, Australia at the time when I came along. But from the very first breath, from the very first moments of my life, haka and my te ao Māori has been part and parcel of my life. And so I've been brought up in a whānau that has committed a lifelong commitment to kapa haka and to ngā mahi waiata. And with that comes te reo me o ngā tikanga, the way that we conduct ourselves as Māori, with our language and our ways of doing things, being part and parcel. So starting off in Australia, I was born into a kapahaka group there, Te Huinga Waka. Te Huinga Waka, I was under the tutelage of Muriwai Ihakara at the time. And so I grew up. I didn't know any different. I thought everyone did kapahaka, but I soon found out when I kind of grew up, but that not everyone does kapahaka. So we grew up under Te Huinga Waka. My mother and my father were both performers, senior members of the team by the time we came along. And then they were also part of the team that started off Te Huinga Waka Juniors. And so learning waiata from a small child, even in Australia.
I remember Te Huinga Waka, they came to Hawera, I think it was in the 90s. Were you there amongst that whānau?
Yes. So I was there. We actually stayed at Waitara.
Okay.
At the marae there. I remember staying there. Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
And then
Right.
and they did come to Hawera. They've Te Huinga Waka, I believe their first national festival was in 1988 in Whangarei. And
Okay.
then
It's a
ever
long
since,
time.
so 88, 1990, 92, 94, they came back every year. But by the time 94 had come along, we had already, our whānau had already moved back to Tamaki,
Okay.
and by that time, Mum had joined the ranks of Te Waka Huia, and so I've grown up with Te Huinga Waka, and then I also grew up as a Waka Huia kid, as a Waka
Wow.
Huia baby,
Sure.
going to wānanga, going to live-ins with my mum,
Okay.
me, my mum, my brother, and my
Kia
sister.
ora.
We grew up and learnt under Auntie Nan and Uncle Bub Wehi, some of, if not
Wow.
the most renowned kapahaka
Yeah.
tutors in Te Ao Māori. So,
Yeah.
in that respect, I think I count my blessings to be amongst those who got to sit at their feet and to listen and learn and see how they did things, how kapahaka was taught, the discipline involved in it, the skill, the way you practice, and all that kind of stuff. We were it's a blessing that I was able to observe that and be part of that whole whare wānanga of sorts of Te Waka
Yeah.
Huia.
Because
Yeah.
people see haka. I mean, it's the obvious part of our culture, but it's just the external side in some ways. And there's so much more going on behind the expression of haka, and it's a whole lifetime of knowledge, isn't it? And I, um, I think, as I said in my introduction, I think we're blessed to have this as part of our who we are, and people like you extra blessed. Extra blessed. But how did any of that really translate for you in terms of moving into Te Ao Whānui, which, I mean, the non-Māori world? Did any of those values that you learned as being Māori set you up or put you in good stead for moving forward?
Absolutely. So and it's funny you bring this question up. I've just been doing some writings, and what I've kind of said in the writings is that at the very core of anything and everything I do is the tuapapa. It's kapahaka and the discipline of kapahaka that has actually taught me how to do things and how to um, operate in this world. So if I think about kapahakas around discipline of learning, making sure that you're always advancing, and one other big part is that it's never for yourself. You're but a vessel to hold onto the teachings, but there's a responsibility there to then at some stage pass it on, however that might look like, whether you're a tutor of a kapahaka group, whether you get the chance to share the culture in different forums. There's a responsibility for you to not only learn but also pass on that knowledge, ensuring the well, we know, and Te Ao Māori, we call it
Whakapapa,
taonga
eh?
tuku. Yeah,
Yeah,
whakapapa taonga
yeah,
tuku iho.
yeah,
And it ensures our identity in years
yeah.
to come and many generations to come.
I raised whakapapa because I was talking to David Jones last week, and it
Oh,
was
yes.
and he talked about this in the sense of regulating ourselves in terms of when we teach Maori, which what I'll go into later on. When we teach Maori to others, this has been given to us as a taonga tuku iho, but we have an obligation to pass it on to others in a way which is respects where it come from in the first place. Yeah, so. Now, you've been overseas you've traveled quite extensively. I mean, tell us why you wanted to leave Aotearoa and go out into the wider world.
I've also, I suppose, being born in Sydney, that travel kind of bug has been in since I was born. So we would come backwards and forwards quite often between Aotearoa and Australia. Even once we did move home to Aotearoa, my father's family, my grandmother, my aunties and uncles, they lived in Sydney as well. So traveling from a young age has been part and parcel of my life. And then going wider afield, we often hear about and we see all these places, and you only see them on the TV or in the movies. And so for me, I really wanted to get out there and see it for myself, experience, get to see it with my own eyes,
Yeah.
and these places that we often only just see in the movies. And so that kind of drove me to finally, yeah, leave Aotearoa for a while. I actually didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to go there. But if I go back to my other korero, I've always known who I am and what I know and the tuapapa. So um, those learnings has actually been the key to opening a lot of doors for me
Okay.
through not only haka but also my te reo and all that kind of stuff. So those are doors, yeah, that have
Well,
really given me some really awesome experiences.
I'm going to ask you about those in a minute, but just while we're here, there's quite a few people who are from that you may have met in your experiences overseas, saying hello
Oh,
on Facebook.
kia ora, everybody.
So we've got Renice from Paris, got Shannon
Oh,
and James she's in Rotorua at the moment, May
yes.
Lee,
Oh, very
Zia
good.
Jones, Antoinette,
Oh,
Amapunanga,
ah,
Andrew
oh,
Gunman.
we,
Here's a message from it's Lana from Sete Francesca,
kia ora.
Italy, when we're in Italy
Yes,
together.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, and
Just tell me
experience.
about your experience. Some of
Yeah,
your experiences, the most memorable ones, because I know you've been with Ngāti Rānana, you've been with Manaya and Haka Works to
yeah.
various places around the world. Is there
Yeah.
anything that stands out for you?
So I think I can't really kind of pinpoint one. That the whole kind of 2.5 years I was living in London and experiencing those were phenomenal. But if I was to kind of filter it, one of the proudest moments is with Ngāti Rānana, we presented a waiata for the Commonwealth Service, and that was broadcasted worldwide. And I think there were 12 of us, and we performed kuarongo for
Yeah,
to welcome everybody to the service on behalf of Her Majesty. And so, being in Westminster Abbey, first of all, rehearsing in Westminster Abbey 5 times before actually doing the thing, like being in Westminster Abbey by ourselves, that was like, oh my gosh.
yeah,
But then actually being able to do that and feeling proud that you were being the face for Te Ao Māori and the reo for Te Ao Māori on the world stage. And
mm,
so those experiences. I think about the time we went with you to India. I had never thought I'd ever get to India,
that's
you
right.
know,
Yeah, yeah,
and being arriving in New Delhi at 3 a.m. in the morning, me, Te Reinga, Lewis, and Janae,
Yeah.
and then doing workshops there, being having access to the Taj Mahal. All those
That's right.
those are and it was through Haka. It was through
Mm,
the knowledge
mm,
of Haka and the willingness to be able to share that, and being in a position to be able to do that,
yeah.
having the skills and the knowledge to be able to do that. Those are awesome
Mm,
experiences.
mm,
Um,
beautiful.
and I think about all the people that I met.
Yeah.
And I know that for some, I count my blessings to be able to call them whānau and to be able to call them friends, because um, while we're over there, it's awesome to be able to have these experiences, but it's even awesome if you've got people that you share those experiences with.
Mm,
And
lovely.
very
So,
well.
I want to ask you, what is it about our culture that appeals to people who aren't Maori?
Um, I think there's it's something kind of different to most of the people in Europe. There's a interest because the culture comes from an island way down in the deep um, Pacific. Um, there's also, I think, when you're doing the haka, the the language of ihi, wehi, wana, and tapu transcends languages. So you can see passion, you can feel passion, you can sense passion in haka, and I suppose that's for people that perhaps haven't had the fortune to actually be able to express themselves in that way. It can become very infectious. You
Mm,
know,
yeah.
when you're feeling energy. I remember you talking about energy a lot. Kapahaka brings energy. It can set the tone of the room. It can set the tone of a hui. It can set the tone of a whole crowd. And
Yeah.
so, if it's positive, if you're feeling it, it's going to be infectious. And
Mm, mm,
haka is
mm,
one of those things that a lot of them, it is their first time hearing and seeing te reo Māori,
mm.
but it's the way, ka rongo a taringa, ka rongo a hinengaro, ka rongo a wairua. And I think it's that kind of makes it so
Yeah.
appealing to others.
Yeah, I agree. I like what you said about transcending boundaries. Transcending languages, cultures. Is something universal about it, which connects with everybody, no matter who they are, where they're from. It's like, especially I think over here in Europe, where people are sort of tend to suppress certain parts of who they are, and then when they
Yeah,
hear haka, it's like it awakens that part of them deep inside, and this is the
absolutely.
exciting thing. People don't get to live or experience this because they spent all their lives trying to suppress that. But for Maori, we
Yeah,
have direct access to that part of who we are, and I think that's what appeals. But I'm just wondering, we've taught a lot of haka with Haka Works and with Ngāti Rānana. I know with Haka Works you've been in North America quite a lot. And what is the process, I think? What is the process that we go through to be able to help people unlock that?
well,
Any thoughts on that?
yeah. So I think we've got to thank the All Blacks here for a little bit of because it's sort of like they've opened the door to haka, and so there's a novelty aspect there.
Yeah.
And so I think where we came in with our mahi is that we take that novelty kind of aspect, but then open their understanding to it. And once that opening of understanding, talking about what the significance of haka, I used to like what you used to say with haka being hard, the breath of life, and hard to ignite it. People got that.
Yeah.
And then so explaining the significance of haka, it's like any song, the lyrics tells a story. It's something of meaning. Um, that's the process, unlocking the emotions of a person when explaining something that's in this to us. And people got it straight away. You know, when you talked about it being ha, the breath of life, and ka igniting it, there's no way you can't unknow that. And so when they heard about the stories that we were performing, the stories of Te Rau Paraha, and the creating of kamate, they got it. They understood it. And so I think that's the key to when we're talking about haka, that was the process, making sure that you know, you take the novelty, you learn about it, and then they grow to love it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's explaining the meaning behind it and the stories behind it, open people's minds up. And I suppose it's the way you tell them is also important. But I think also there's another point which you raised at the beginning, is that as soon as you come in and do haka, something changes. You know, the atmosphere changes. You change the feeling in the room, and from that, people start to open themselves up. Hey, there's something different here. I think I mean, sometimes people are really quite nervous about what you're making them feel, because it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And, you know, some people like giggle because they don't know how to manage their feelings. You know, we're opening up some of their feelings that they've never been able to express or connect to ever before. So it's quite new and unique for them. I also think there's something else going on, and I just wonder if you have any thoughts on it. And I think, you know, for myself, I'm of mixed culture. You know, I have a Pākehā family, and I have a Maori family, and I lived in both houses. And, you know, for me, coming to kapa haka, it was something I did in school, and then later in life, and always just I'm thinking of Whare Hoka Wano right now, and how when he used to just stand in mihi, you know, it was like a process of connecting us to each other. And I think that's really important, and somehow that comes through in haka as well. And also we connect to we already talked about connecting to a more deeper part of ourselves, connecting to each other. And if you do haka with a kaupapa in mind, a purpose in mind, you know, it sort of helps focus that energy a bit more.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of haka. It's it can be emotive, it can be happy, it can be sad, it can be angry. It's all of those, and you don't have to be Māori to know those feelings. But haka is the vehicle in which we're able to express those in a way that can, you know, we can see it and feel it and hear it. And us, and it's those emotions, really.
I think, like you say, or we mentioned before, haka is something that is quite visible, but behind it is a whole lot of knowledge and tikanga that's been passed down. And I suppose what we're doing now is trying to understand that and unravel that. Just got a message from Toiroa. He says,
Ora. Very good. He's just hopped off karakia too. I know that he's been on the Ringatu karakias. I've been following the Ringatu karakias the whole shutdown period. So tēnā koe.
So he's got a question. We'll come back to that question later on, because I do want to ask you, you know, if you've got any advice for young people who are Māori who want to travel. What do you think about people? I mean, there's a lot of controversy around this. So what do you think about people teaching haka to people who are non-Māori?
I think if it's been done in the right way, there's nothing wrong with it. As long as the tikanga and the teaching is tika and pono, horekau he raru. But there are people out there that are teaching haka that actually don't know what haka is, and that's where the problem is. So I think pēnei ngākau nui ana te tangata ki te haka, tēnā, whakaakona te haka. If a person has a heart for it or wants to learn it, tēnā, give it, you know, ke te pai tēnā. But it goes back to making sure that what you're teaching, how you're teaching it, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned people out there who are teaching haka who don't know what they're doing. There are some, I mean, it's not just non-Māori, there's some who are Māori as well. They're people. And it's the same whakaaro applies, doesn't it, really?
Absolutely.
How do we manage ourselves, as Maori who are overseas. We come overseas and then people fall in love with who we are and our haka, and we start to love ourselves more than we should. And then, all of a sudden we're up on stage sharing our culture with everybody. How should we manage ourselves in terms of making sure we're doing, pono, we're keeping pono and
Yeah. So I'll talk about myself, how I used to kind of be all right with doing stuff like that, it's being so far away from home. And it's about going back to making sure you know who you are and grounded, ko wai koe. Who are you representing? Are you representing them in the best way possible?
Yeah.
If are you presenting stuff that if people came back and challenged you on it, you can actually say, "Ka kei te pai taku tū." No, it's right, and this is why it's right. And sometimes we do get it wrong, but it is about knowing, grounding yourself, knowing where to go back to ground yourself. So there were some people for me in London that I'd go and talk to, or just go and sit with, to kind of ground myself again. Making sure that I'm tika. I'll mention Whai Esther here. She was one of those people for me. An afternoon at her house, just to kind of feel like I was at home. Having that pakeke kind of not that we wouldn't talk about hōhonu stuff, but it's just that
You're there.
but I'm there. I'm home with her, talking te reo Māori or singing some old songs. Grounding myself, making sure I remember who I am. As long as those things are done, ka pai koe. Don't forget. And it's important to always touch base. Yeah. It's that grounding. It's that grounding. Kia kau e tino rangi teitei o whakaaro.
Just talking to David again about that whakapapa framework. And it's like you said before, remember who you're representing, and it's those who have given to you. And also those who are coming in the future, totally.
Yeah, and having those people that you can go to. I think about Whai Esther. Another one I used to go to is Auntie Girl. And then one of the first things I used to go to when I used to get to her was I'll jump into that river, to kind of just, whakawātea myself in. Okay, I was home. I was home with her because she was from up north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting too that those rituals, even though we live overseas, I mean, you were born in Australia, so it's not unusual for you to keep continuing those rituals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to show this pātai from Toiroa.
Okay.
He says, now that we are in unprecedented times, what would your advice be to someone thinking about working and traveling in London before they become a karaua at 3 years from now?
And so this is my kind of worried person. I'd wait a little while. You've got 3 years to make your mind up. I'm guessing this is about you, Toiroa. But as soon as it's safe and you feel safe to go. It was one of the best decisions I ever did, and it took me till I was actually 30 to, put in for the visa. And initially I said I was only going for 6 months. Mea wake, 2.5, nearly 3 years later, I was still there. Yeah, and it is, you've got to do, it is different. I won't lie, the first kind of 2-3 months there, I te moke au mo te kāinga, but I think te upoko māroa, I wanted to prove a point that I could actually leave home. But after that first 3 months, it was smooth sailing from there. So if you really have a want to do it, do it. Do it.
So that's your advice to people who are keen to come overseas, just
Absolutely.
to get on a plane and do it if you're keen. I know Toiroa was in the US and he did some of our Haka workshops a few years ago now. It'd be lovely to have him over in the UK. I mean, it's a real issue for us over here, you know, where we really appreciate when people such as yourself come over here with knowledge and are able to take leading roles in sharing that knowledge and representing us in the best way possible to other communities.
Yeah.
So just as if there's any other questions, you're more than welcome to ask on our chat here. So no more haramai. Well, but I think we're pretty much near the end. So yes, I just wanted to see if there's anything else you'd like to say or share at this point in time.
Just want to meet everybody and those who are doing haka across the world. Kia kaha tonu. There's a there's a real there's a place for haka there, and so kia kaha, kia maia, kia manawa nui, kia pono ki ngā mahi. I want to mihi to my whānau for the akoranga that has been given to me. My mum, my brother, my sister for their tautoko. All my kaiako. I think about Auntie Nina and Uncle Bub, Uncle Muriwai and Auntie Venus, all those people who have inputted into my life that have allowed me to have all these experiences. Ka mihi atu kia rātou. I mihi to my own rōpū now, so our my home rōpū here with Hātea, where I've been able to hone my skills as a tutor, as a composer, and all those kind of stuff. So those have all these people have inputted into my life, and I've been able to reap the rewards from it. So he mihi ana kia rātou. O tira kia koutou, te puata, I manaki poi poi iau, I te wā iau I rānana ke te mihi ake.
Oh, kia ora. Hey, just on that, though, Otene, just let us know a little bit more about what your plans are at the moment, what you're doing, and how's Hātea going. And
so so Hātea at the moment we're waiting for the government kind of announcements. We were supposed to have our regionals in March, but the country went into lockdown a week out from the competition, so we had to kind of put everything on hold. So we've got a tentative date, August the 22nd, I think it is, but who knows? So that's us at the moment. What I'm doing now, I'm actually working for a NGO in Tuputoa, and so what we do is we facilitate internships for Māori and Pasifika tauira coming out of universities and putting them into the corporate business and government sectors. So last year we placed 210 interns across 93 different partners, and I'm the Māori advisor for the organisation. So
it's about relationships and building connections.
And promoting our culture, our te reo, and putting that at the core of our mei. So
I think if anything, that it captures what our culture is about. And you come, haka is the external. Well, people see haka and think of Maori culture, but there's so much more going on behind it. And I think one of the main things is our ability to be able to connect with others, and you're doing that in your work, beyond that. So anyway, ka mutu au I konei. Tēnā koe ka huri ki a koe tera pia. Hei te mutunga o tō tātou nei korero, e tika ana ki te waiata, engari au mahi ma tāua pia.
Tēnā koe. O tira, tēnā tātou putanoi te motu o tira I te ao. Tēnā tātou I te āhuatanga o tātou nei korero. Kia koe anō hoki e te puata mihi ana. I'm just trying to think of a song. I might sing a song from up here. Just to kind of, because it's the one of my... I'm in Whangarei at the moment, so I came to Whangarei for the lockdown. Been here with my mum, my cousin and her husband, in our little miru, our little bubble. So this is a song from up here. Hei mihi ki tā tātou whare wānanga, tā tātou whare haka. I te pō nei. Te whare e tu nei au e ka ranga mai, te marae tā koto nei ka ranga. E te iwi, e pai nei, te nara koutou katoa. Tai mai te pohiri, kua tutuki nei, he honore rangatira ki a mātau. Me mihi kau atu ki ngā reo katoa, ngā hapu kua eke mai nei. Nā te aro hātātau I kawe mai, ki tēnei huinga. Ki tēnei huinga. Hia wehi.
Kia ora, tēnā koe. Tēnā koutou, wakarongo mai ki au tēnei wā ki a Haka Works, ki kumuti tō tātou nei mahi tēnei wā, kia ora mai tātou.
Nā koutou.